On today's Hot Sheet, I'm discussing the FHFA and S&P Case-Shiller house price indices, as well as Realtor.com's latest rental report. We pushed that from yesterday to today. I promise I will get to it. And today is Tuesday, September 24th, 2024. I'm Byron Lazine, and the Hot Sheet starts now. Good morning and welcome into the Hot Sheet. Let me know which market you are tuning into live here on the Hot Sheet in the live chat. I am up in my Connecticut studio here for the remainder of the week. Shout out to 𝐿𝐤, who we have a huge announcement for BAMX members. 𝐿𝐤 now a part of the Hot Sheet each and every morning. And BAMX members, stay tuned because within a week, there is an enormous announcement coming from BAM and 𝐿𝐤 that will benefit all BAMX members. To become a member today, use code HOT to join BAMX and the growing community there. BAMX members, reminder, you get 25% off your BAM Mania ticket. BAM Mania is happening now in less than a month, October 17th and 18th for the VIP experience. VIP tickets do look like they will be out this week. So if you are interested in the VIP, or if you're already a ticket holder and you want to upgrade to VIP, you can reach out via email to jill@nowbam.com, or you can go ahead and visit bammania.com to lock in your ticket to BAM Mania. General admission is October 18th, that Friday, circa Las Vegas, brand new venue. You'll be invited, obviously, to the kickoff party on Thursday the 17th, early registration kickoff party, as well as the after party on the 18th. Do not wait. Grab your tickets at bammania.com today, okay? All right, let's get into these reports here. We have S&P, CoreLogic, Case-Shiller, home price indices. What a name, what a long title, but it is, in fact, the gold standard when it comes to real estate home prices. The S&P CoreLogic Case-Shiller home price indices are the leading measures of U.S. residential real estate prices. They are considered the gold standard by most throughout the industry. It tracks changes in the value of residential real estate nationally. And let's jump into this Case-Shiller breakdown. Now, again, these are, I don't want to use outdated, but these are definitely rear view mirror numbers. They are lagging numbers. When we look at, say, one of the portals, they have, the month out within a week or 2 weeks of the month ending. Your MLS, if you're a licensed agent or a user of a local MLS, probably has the same type of data, right? If it's mid month, you have last month's data in hand for your local market. Nationally, though, S&P, CoreLogic Case-Shiller waits multiple months. Okay. In fact, the numbers that just came out here this morning are for July of 2024. It's almost October. It's almost BAM Mania month, but we're still looking backwards at July. July did hit a new all-time high in home prices. It's a 5% annual increase. That annual increase is decelerating. Doesn't mean you can't set a new all-time record, and that's exactly what has happened. Growth has decelerated across almost every market, and low price tier markets outperformed the rest. Okay, so taking a look at the BAMX Hot Sheet show notes, BAMX members, you get access to all of this inside of your BAMX platform. U.S. national home price, the 5% up. That's down from a 5.5% in June. Okay, the 10-city composite had a 6.8% annual increase, which is also decelerating, down from 7.4% on an annual in June. This is what we would expect to see this time of year. This deceleration, regardless of the record being set, a deceleration overall in the rate of which homes are appreciating. Okay, it's one of the reasons why on a 12-month cycle, buyers, when we fast forward 4 or 5 months, of data, are going to be receiving the lowest price points in the next 4 months as opposed to any point of the 12-month cycle. 20-city composite, according to Case-Shiller, had a 5.9 annual increase in July. That's down from 6.5 in June. New York had the highest annual gain at 8.8, Vegas 8.2, and Los Angeles at 7.2. And Portland was the smallest annual increase at 0.8%, according to these CoreLogic numbers and the CoreLogic data. Okay. Here is your look going all the way back to 1988 on all tiers, low tier under 530,000, middle tier from 530 to 780, and then over 780, all following a similar trend line as it relates to these home prices. And you see the line with the dots there in the middle, that's 0% growth. So even when, this chart can be confusing to buyers. Okay. All the charts are obviously available for BAMX members inside of BAMX, but this chart I tend to, I wouldn't show a buyer this who's just getting educated. I wouldn't hide it from them or anything like that. I'm just saying this chart doesn't explain how much home prices go up over time, like the FHFA one, which we'll get to here in just a couple of minutes. This one can look confusing. An educated investor or somebody who's bought and sold many homes or, understands finance can make sense of this. But some of those down, those lines that are moving down, like what we're seeing now and what we saw in 2021, 2022 is just a deceleration of annual growth. It means growth is happening at a slower rate, but still growing. Okay. So I don't love walking somebody through that one like I do walking somebody through, say, this one here. And I prefer the FHFA one, which I'll show in a minute. This one shows nonstop growth. Go back from 1987 to today, and all we see is home price growth. Whether it's the national, the 10-city composite, or the 20-city composite, it's all up and to the right. It's if you're holding real estate at an extended period of time, you're going to find value. You're going to find home price appreciation. You're going to pay down debt like some of the cheapest debt, even at 6% in comparison to any other country. Long-term fixed. You don't get that opportunity in most countries. Okay, here's the table for the 20 cities, metropolitan areas, rather, that Case-Shiller indices follows. Okay, Atlanta had a change from June to July of 0.15%. Atlanta's up 4.49 on the 1 year. And Boston really flat from June to July. You have 0.3% in Boston. A lot of these numbers coming in near flat. Charlotte at 0.23% increase. Chicago at 0.45%. You go to Cleveland now, had over 1% gain month over month, 1.1% from June to July. And you had Las Vegas 0.88%. Las Vegas was in that group of the top three. The metropolitan areas that decrease, you have Dallas, Denver, Los Angeles, Portland, San Diego, San Francisco at 1.09%, Seattle and Tampa. Seattle, Tampa, Portland, basically flat, just under zero there. And that is, again, the June to July percent change. The 10-city, when you go month over month, went up 0.1%, 20-city 0.4%, national just 0.1%. So really not much change from June to July. It's the 1 year change. All those numbers have decelerated, but it's the 1 year that really makes the biggest impact. Again, Portland being the smallest at 0.8%, New York being the largest gainer at 8.8%, and the 10-city, 20-city US all decelerating, coming in, though, at 6.7, 5.9, and 4.9, respectively, on those three metrics. Okay. That, I guess, would wrap it up there for Case-Shiller. Let's go over to FHFA. FHFA, Federal Housing Finance Agency, releases their numbers in line and kind of in lockstep here, usually with Case-Shiller. and they have their monthly report data through July 2024, also released just today. Okay. Their overall headline here, officially from Washington, D.C., is that U.S. home prices rose 0.1% in July. This is seasonally adjusted monthly housing price index. Houses rose 4.5% from July 2023 to July 2024. Okay, so we saw Case-Shiller was closer to 4.9 here. FHFA coming in at 4.5. The previously reported 0.1% increase decrease rather in June was revised upward to flat at a true 0%. So those are the top line numbers from FHFA. Now we can get into some of visualizing these trends. And that's what they call it here. If you go through the 24-page PDF that FHFA releases, we have that linked up for you inside of BAMX for BAMX members, where you can get access to the most relevant data at your fingertips all in one place. Get into BAMX by using code HOT. But this is what they call it, if it's visualizing the trends. This is what I'm talking about when I say, what do I want to put in front? What do I want to be particular about? What I put in front of a buyer who's, curious about home prices. Oh my God, what if they go down? What if I buy now and I'm buying too high? There's been only one instance since 1990 when a buyer could have reasonably said, gee, I just bought too high. And that's only if they were selling in the next 6 years, 8 years. If they were a 10-year or more holder of the real estate, they did quite fine. That's what most buyers do. They hold for 10 plus years. Okay, so there's not really at any point outside of a mortgage crisis that we've never seen, and we're not even close to re-entering at this point since 1990 that you can point to where home prices aren't going up. They're always going up. And, if you get into that chart that I showed earlier, which shows all the deceleration of home price appreciation, it looks like there's many times on the calendar that that the home prices are actually going down. On a 12-month cycle, they're typically always going up. What also is true on a 12-month cycle, the opportunities to get the best deal, because there's always deals in every market, do tend to happen this time of year. And so I think that's where the chart where it shows the valleys inside of your market is actually applicable to a buyer, to just highlight the last 20 winters. Oh my God, the last 20 winters gotten lower prices than at any other point in the 12-month cycle. Doesn't mean home prices weren't continuously going up. Okay. What do I think is going to happen this winter? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but we can look at the last 20 winters and see what has happened. Okay. Here's going into the regions according to FHFA. You have a deceleration on the annual, so 4.6% change. This is just comparing 22 to 23 versus 23 to 24. You had 4.6 a year ago when you were looking back a year to 4.5 now. The Pacific is up 3.4%, only up 0.9% in the July 22 to July 23. Mountain at 3.3% here now year over year to this point on the price change. North or West North Central is up 4%. That's down from the previous year. West South Central up 1.6%. That's also down. East North Central up 7.5% on the last year. That's up from the year prior. 4.9% for East South Central. It's flat. New England is up 7.1% on the last year, and Middle Atlantic 6.7%, and South Atlantic 3.6% for the regions that the FHFA covers in this report that comes out every single month. It's one of the most detailed reports in the way they break down the region. Also in, and I think some of those visuals that they have here in this PDF that'll, again, all be available for you in BAMX so that you have access to the most relevant data and that you can put that into action in your marketing. So many of you guys are using the hot sheet show notes, and I love getting the feedback to just take these hot sheet show notes, copy and paste them right into the communications that you have each and every single day. We release these every day with the most relevant 24-hour information in the market. so that you have that for your database and the conversations that you're having, so you can separate yourself from everything else that is going on. All right, let's go to that rental report that I teased yesterday. Didn't get a chance to get to, but certainly want to address today. Realtor.com's rental report does show that August 2024 saw the 13th consecutive month of year-over-year rent declines. Okay, so we knew what Powell said last week, over half a year ago. Hey, rents in real time are declining. Now, that data still hasn't actually shown up in things like owner's equivalent rent and CPI, in these measurements that the Fed does use to look at inflation. So maybe we could say, hey, the Fed is finally getting ahead of things, because maybe they are looking at some of this real-time data and saying, well, geez, our data is just so outdated that we've got to go ahead and cut. There's a lot of questions of why the cut was 50. I talked about some of those yesterday. You can go back and listen to that. But there's just no question now that rents are not only decelerating, but they have been decelerating, and it's improving national affordability. We also saw last week that there's affordability on mortgages that are now improving. When you go from 8 to 6, it only makes sense. In some markets, it's actually become more economical to go and buy again versus rent. We haven't been able to say that in the last couple of years. So you have both that are cooling, that are helpful to the fight against inflation and getting it back to that 2% level that the Fed is so passionate about. Median asking rents in the 50 largest U.S. metros are down, down slightly, but down. They're also lower than the August 2022 peak. And we still have more inventory yet to hit the multifamily in some of the largest communities across the country. So I still think that there is a case to be made that these numbers could improve even more over the next year. Nationwide rents are just 0.4% below 2022 peak, but they are below that number. That's just under $1,750 on nationwide rents. You see the deceleration on median rent now year over year, actually going into not only decelerating, but going into the negatives on this chart here. Another reason why it's been really hard to find, you have an investor says, hey, can you help me find a rental that's going to cash flow? It's like, I would have already bought it, man, because there's not many of them out there. You got to play the appreciation game as an investor when you're looking at these numbers. And so some of these numbers and where we are on borrowing money can help an investor or a newer beginner investor realize that. All units saw waning rent declines according to Realtor.com. So studio, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, all moving downward. Doesn't matter what size. And here are the rent units by size according to Realtor.com. So year over year, the overall rent is down 0.3%. Now the change over the last 5 years is up 20% overall, just north of 1,700. The studio coming in at 1,455. Year over year, that's down 1.4%, but up 14 for the last 5. 1 bedroom is now at $1,632. Year over year, that's down just under a full percent, but up 18+% over the last 5. 2 bedrooms are at $1,941, down 0.3% year over year, up the most on a 5-year run at 21.6% on the 2 bedrooms. One of the here's something that's interesting here when they talk about rental affordability. I'll just read this for you. Rental affordability improved from a year ago. One approach to measuring rental affordability is the 30% rule of thumb. According to this rule, a household should spend no more than 30% of its gross income on housing costs. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development uses this approach. HUD defines cost burden households as those paying more than 30% of the gross income. That includes utilities, and severely cost burden household as paying more than 50% of income on rent, including utilities. This report uses the rent share of income measure to measure rental affordability. In August, it compares the median monthly rents with the estimated median income. The higher value means the rental costs make up more significant portion of the typical household income on every month. Okay. In 24, the average median monthly household income among top 50 metros was $6,985, and the monthly median listed rent for those was $1,735. So that suggests that rents make up 25.1% of a typical household income. In August, that number was 25.9%. Okay, so this shows that for the median household, the national's rental affordability has improved over the past year. Okay, rent prices have dipped and typical incomes have grown. So again, another data point that does show that inflation has been put under control, which leads me back to yesterday's question. I'm in favor of the 0.5 point. It's supportive, and it was already priced in. We saw that with the 30-year fix yesterday. I'll get to that in a second. But it's supportive of a housing market that can be unleashed. But with everything that the Fed has said, you would have thought how hawkish they've been, they would have just went 0.25. But it does leave questions about how concerned they are with the labor market, because everything points towards inflation, coming down. You take owner's equivalent rent, we're below 2%. We never want to get to stagflation. There has to be a level of inflation, and the Fed understands that. So going 0.5 point does at least present the question of how concerned are they with that labor market. Just looking quickly at some regions here, you still have some really high median rents in places like Miami at $2,400, LA at $2,900, New York almost at $3,000, San Diego at $2,800, Boston over $3,000, San Bernardino is at $2,200 on the median. So those are some of the highest across the country. Some of the most affordable rental markets, when you look at 0 to 2 bedroom, OKC just over $1,000, Columbus, Ohio at $1,200 plus, Austin is at $1,500. For Austin, for everything that's going on there with the amount of inventory, and you can live affordable, it seems, in a city like Austin, a growing city like Austin. Minneapolis over $1,500, Kansas City at $1,350 on the affordable side. Okay, there you go. There's more data in there, obviously, and there's some more regional breakdowns. I'm not going to go through them all, but they're available inside of that report, and with all of the data points linked up easily for you to use inside of BAMX. Grab access to this instant data inside of BAMX so you can use it in your business, so you can actually impact the change that you want across your community. Taking a look here quickly at the 10-year, still continuing to tick up from the lows, the 52-year low that we experienced last week, now almost at 3.8. And this is one of the reasons why before the Fed meeting, I was very passionate about talking to your buyers about, hey, the Fed meeting might actually, while they're going to cut and they're going to make a cut, and even if they have a 0.5 point cut, you might not see rates go down. They've been priced in. In fact, we're seeing rates tick up. What the heck is going on? That's what's happened. Okay, 6.2% yesterday on the 30-year fixed. When these rates are low for that moment in time, it's important to be aggressive with your communication with your buyers. It's important to be able to educate them on the reality of what can happen. We don't have to go that far back. We can go back to the last time, we were this low, right? Go back to February the 2nd, 2023, 5.99 on the 30-year fixed. Within 30 days, on March the 2nd, 2023, we were back up to 7.1. I'm not calling for that now, but what I'm saying is if you're a buyer, take advantage of the seasonality of the market, the increase in inventory, the willingness for sellers to be more negotiable today than they've ever been, but also take advantage of these moments and times on the 30-year, because there can and there likely will still be some level of volatility around what that rate looks like. And that is a conversation I'd be having over and over and over again with my clients, with my customers, as somebody who's separating myself as a knowledge broker, as a real estate agent, who's taking real-time data and putting it into action, both on the macro, what we do here on the hot sheet, and what you do every single day in your market in the micro. For more, conversations like this, and if you get value out of this every single day, make sure that you join us at bammania.com. Bam Mania happening October 18th, circa Las Vegas. We're having a kickoff pre-registration party on the 17th at Legacy Club, and then Stadium Swim after the event. It's about the connections, obviously, in the room, and the conversations that we're going to be having in the room are like no other real estate event you've ever been to. BAMMania.com to secure your tickets. VIP tickets, I'm hearing, are going to be closed out this week. So if you want to upgrade into VIP or grab a VIP ticket, make sure you do that. All right, we will be back obviously tomorrow, but later on today here on the main channel, I will be releasing, along with Nicole White, a brand new Real Word podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss updates when we put out new content each and every single day here on the YouTube channel. Until then, and until tomorrow, of course, have a great day and toodaloo.